In the contemporary landscape of global business, the concept of cultural competence has emerged as a cornerstone for organizational success. As companies expand beyond domestic borders, they encounter a diverse array of cultures, each with its own set of values, beliefs, communication styles, and business practices. Navigating these complexities requires more than just technical expertise or strategic acumen. It demands a deep understanding of and sensitivity to cultural differences. Cultural competence, therefore, is not merely an optional skill, but an essential capability for managers and leaders operating in a global context. Cultural competence can be defined as the ability to interact effectively with people from different cultures. It encompasses awareness of one's own cultural worldview, knowledge of other cultural practices and worldviews, and cross-cultural skills. In the realm of global business management, this translates into an organization's capacity to operate seamlessly across borders, build strong international partnerships, and foster an inclusive environment that leverages the strengths of a diverse workforce. The failure to develop cultural competence can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and ultimately the loss of valuable opportunities in the global marketplace. At the heart of cultural competence is self-awareness. Managers must first understand their own cultural biases and assumptions before they can appreciate and adapt to those of others. This process of introspection is crucial because cultural norms are often invisible to those who are immersed in them. For instance, a manager from a low-context culture, such as the United States, may prioritize direct communication and individual achievement, while a counterpart from a high-context culture, such as Japan, may value indirect communication and group harmony. Without self-awareness, managers risk imposing their own cultural norms onto others, leading to misinterpretations and strained relationships. Knowledge is the second pillar of cultural competence. This involves learning about the history, customs, values, and social structures of other cultures. In global business, this knowledge enables managers to anticipate potential areas of conflict, identify shared interests, and tailor their strategies to suit local contexts. For example, understanding the concept of guanxi in Chinese business culture. The importance of personal relationships and networks can be the difference between success and failure in negotiating deals in China. Similarly, being aware of hierarchical structures in Indian organizations can help managers navigate decision-making processes more effectively. However, awareness and knowledge alone are insufficient without the accompanying skills to apply them in real-world situations. Cross-cultural skills include effective communication, active listening, empathy, adaptability, and conflict resolution. These skills enable managers to bridge cultural gaps, negotiate successfully, and build trust with international partners. For instance, a culturally competent manager might recognize the importance of saving face in certain Asian cultures and adjust their feedback style accordingly to avoid causing embarrassment. They may also adapt their negotiation tactics to align with the collaborative or competitive orientation of the host culture. The benefits of cultural competence in global business management are manifold. At the organizational level, it enhances the ability to attract and retain top talent from around the world, fosters innovation through diverse perspectives, and improves customer satisfaction by catering to the unique needs of different markets. Companies with high levels of cultural competence are better equipped to navigate the complexities of international mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures, and global supply chains. They are also more resilient in the face of cross-cultural challenges, such as political instability or regulatory changes in foreign markets. On an interpersonal level, cultural competence facilitates effective teamwork among employees from diverse backgrounds. It reduces misunderstandings, promotes mutual respect, and creates a more inclusive workplace culture. This, in turn, leads to higher employee engagement, productivity, and morale. In client-facing roles, cultural competence enables managers to build strong relationships with customers, understand their preferences, and deliver products and services that resonate with local tastes and expectations. Despite its importance, developing cultural competence is not without challenges. One of the primary obstacles is ethnocentrism, the tendency to view one's own culture as superior to others. Ethnocentric attitudes can manifest in various ways, from dismissing alternative viewpoints to imposing home country practices on foreign subsidiaries. Overcoming ethnocentrism requires a conscious effort to recognize and value cultural differences, rather than viewing them as barriers to be overcome. Another challenge is the sheer diversity and complexity of cultures encountered in global business. No single manager can be expected to master all the nuances of every culture they encounter. Instead, the goal should be to develop a mindset of curiosity, openness, and lifelong learning. Organizations can support this by providing cross-cultural training, encouraging international assignments, and fostering a culture of inclusion. Mentoring and coaching programs can also help employees develop the confidence and skills needed to navigate unfamiliar cultural environments. Technology plays a dual role in the development of cultural competence. On one hand, digital communication tools facilitate collaboration across time zones and geographies, making it easier for global teams to work together. On the other hand, the lack of face-to-face interaction can exacerbate misunderstandings and hinder the development of trust. Managers must therefore be mindful of the limitations of virtual communication and make extra efforts to build rapport and clarify expectations. This might involve using video conferencing to convey nonverbal cues, scheduling regular check-ins, or providing clear written guidelines to supplement verbal instructions. Leadership commitment is critical to embedding cultural competence within an organization. Senior leaders set the tone for the rest of the company by modeling inclusive behaviors, championing diversity initiatives, and holding themselves and others accountable for results. They can also ensure that cultural competence is integrated into key business processes, such as recruitment, performance management, and leadership development. By making cultural competence a strategic priority, organizations signal their commitment to operating ethically and effectively in a globalized world. One of the most effective ways to develop cultural competence is through experiential learning. International assignments, cross-border projects, and cultural immersion programs provide managers with first-hand exposure to different ways of thinking and working. These experiences challenge assumptions, broaden perspectives, and build the adaptability needed to thrive in diverse environments. Reverse mentoring, where junior employees from underrepresented backgrounds mentor senior leaders, can also provide valuable insights and foster mutual learning. Cultural competence is not static. It evolves over time as individuals gain new experiences and reflect on their interactions. Continuous feedback, self-assessment, and peer support are essential for ongoing development. Organizations can facilitate this by creating safe spaces for dialogue, encouraging honest conversations about cultural differences, and recognizing and rewarding culturally competent behaviors. In addition to interpersonal skills, cultural competence in global business management requires an understanding of how culture influences organizational systems and processes. For example, decision-making styles, approaches to risk, and attitudes toward hierarchy can vary significantly across cultures. In some countries, decisions may be made collectively after extensive consultation, while in others, authority may rest with a single leader. Recognizing these differences allows managers to adapt their leadership style and avoid missteps that could undermine their credibility or effectiveness. Negotiation is another area where cultural competence is particularly important. Different cultures have distinct approaches to negotiation, shaped by factors such as power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and communication styles. For instance, negotiators from cultures that value harmony may prioritize relationship building and seek win-win outcomes, while those from more competitive cultures may focus on maximizing their own gains. Understanding these dynamics enables managers to prepare more effectively, anticipate potential challenges, and achieve better outcomes. Marketing and branding strategies must also be tailored to reflect cultural preferences and sensitivities. What resonates with consumers in one country may fall flat or even offend in another. Successful global brands invest in market research to understand local tastes, adapt their messaging, and ensure that their products are culturally relevant. This requires close collaboration between headquarters and local teams, as well as a willingness to listen and learn from local experts. Human resource management is another domain where cultural competence plays a vital role. From recruitment and onboarding to performance evaluation and career development, HR practices must be adapted to align with local norms and expectations. For example, concepts of fairness, motivation, and reward can differ widely across cultures. In some countries, public recognition may be highly valued, while in others, private praise is preferred. Understanding these nuances helps organizations attract, retain, and motivate talent in diverse markets. Legal and ethical considerations also come into play in global business management. Laws and regulations governing issues such as labor rights, environmental protection, and anti-corruption vary from country to country. Cultural norms influence perceptions of what is acceptable or unacceptable behavior. Managers must navigate these complexities with integrity, ensuring compliance with local laws while upholding the organization's core values. This requires a nuanced understanding of both formal rules and informal practices. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, is increasingly viewed through a cultural lens. Multinational companies are expected to contribute positively to the communities in which they operate. But what constitutes responsible behavior may differ from one context to another. For example, philanthropic activities that are highly valued in one country may be less relevant in another, where stakeholders expect companies to address issues such as environmental sustainability or labor rights. Culturally competent managers engage with local communities, listen to their concerns, and tailor CSR initiatives to meet their needs. The rise of remote and hybrid work models presents new challenges and opportunities for cultural competence. Distributed teams must navigate differences in time zones, work styles, and communication preferences. Managers need to be proactive in fostering inclusion, ensuring that all team members have a voice and feel connected to the broader organization. This may involve rotating meeting times, providing language support, or creating informal opportunities for social interaction. Technology can facilitate these efforts, but it cannot replace the human touch required to build trust and cohesion. Language is a critical component of cultural competence. While English is often used as the lingua franca in global business, language barriers can still impede communication and collaboration. Even when team members speak the same language, differences in accents, idioms, and communication styles can lead to misunderstandings. Managers should strive to use clear, simple language, avoid jargon, and check for understanding. Providing language training and translation services can also help bridge gaps and ensure that all employees feel included. Diversity and inclusion, D&I initiatives, are closely linked to cultural competence. Organizations that embrace diversity in all its forms, including ethnicity, gender, and socioeconomic background, are better positioned to innovate and respond to changing market needs. However, diversity alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by an inclusive culture that values and leverages differences. Cultural competence is the glue that binds diverse teams together, enabling them to collaborate effectively and achieve common goals. Measuring cultural competence is an ongoing challenge. Traditional metrics such as diversity statistics or employee engagement scores provide only a partial picture. More nuanced approaches include 360-degree feedback, cultural audits, and assessments of cross-cultural skills. Organizations can also track outcomes such as retention rates, customer satisfaction, and business performance in international markets to gauge the impact of cultural competence initiatives. Case studies provide valuable insights into the role of cultural competence in global business management. For example, the failure of some Western companies to succeed in emerging markets has often been attributed to a lack of understanding of local cultures. Conversely, companies that invest in building local relationships, adapting their products and services, and empowering local teams have achieved remarkable success. These examples underscore the importance of cultural competence as a driver of competitive advantage. Education and training are essential for building cultural competence at all levels of the organization. This can take many forms, from formal courses and workshops to informal learning and mentorship. Scenario-based learning, simulations, and role-playing exercises allow employees to practice cross-cultural skills in a safe environment. Ongoing learning opportunities, such as cultural briefings or language classes, help keep skills sharp and relevant. The role of the manager as a cultural ambassador cannot be overstated. Managers serve as role models for their teams, setting expectations for respectful and inclusive behavior. They are also responsible for mediating conflicts, facilitating dialogue, and ensuring that all voices are heard. This requires emotional intelligence, humility, and a willingness to learn from others. By demonstrating cultural competence in their own actions, managers inspire others to follow suit. Global business management is increasingly shaped by geopolitical trends, economic shifts, and technological advancements. These forces bring new opportunities and risks, requiring managers to be agile and adaptable. Cultural competence provides a foundation for navigating uncertainty, building resilience, and seizing opportunities in a rapidly changing world. It enables organizations to respond to local needs, build strong partnerships, and create value for stakeholders around the globe. Ethical leadership is closely linked to cultural competence. Leaders who are attuned to cultural differences are better equipped to make ethical decisions that respect local norms while upholding universal principles. They are also more likely to build trust with stakeholders, enhance the organization's reputation, and avoid costly mistakes. Ethical dilemmas often arise in cross-cultural contexts, where conflicting values and expectations must be balanced. Culturally competent leaders engage in open dialogue, seek diverse perspectives, and make decisions that reflect both local realities and global standards. The integration of sustainability into global business strategies further underscores the importance of cultural competence. Environmental and social issues are experienced differently across cultures, and solutions must be tailored to local contexts. For example, approaches to water conservation, waste management, or renewable energy may vary depending on cultural attitudes, regulatory frameworks, and available resources. Culturally competent managers work collaboratively with local stakeholders to co-create solutions that are both effective and culturally appropriate. Innovation thrives in environments that embrace diversity and foster cross-cultural collaboration. Teams composed of individuals from different backgrounds bring a wider range of ideas, perspectives, and problem-solving approaches. However, Harnessing this potential requires a culture of psychological safety, where all members feel comfortable sharing their views. Cultural competence is essential for creating such an environment, as it enables managers to recognize and address barriers to participation, such as language differences, power dynamics, or unconscious bias. The future of global business management will be shaped by ongoing shifts in demographics, technology, and geopolitics. As emerging markets continue to grow in importance, organizations will need to deepen their understanding of local cultures and adapt their strategies accordingly. The rise of artificial intelligence and automation will also change the nature of work, creating new opportunities and challenges for cross-cultural collaboration. In this context, cultural competence will remain a critical differentiator, enabling organizations to thrive in an increasingly interconnected world. In conclusion, cultural competence is a vital skill for managers and leaders in global business. It encompasses self-awareness, knowledge, and cross-cultural skills, enabling organizations to operate effectively across borders and build strong international partnerships. The benefits of cultural competence extend beyond the bottom line, enhancing innovation, employee engagement, and social responsibility. Developing cultural competence requires a commitment to lifelong learning, openness to new experiences, and a willingness to challenge one's own assumptions. As the world becomes more interconnected, the ability to navigate cultural differences will become ever more important, shaping the future of global business management for years to come.